Prime Minister Ahmed of Ethiopia received it this month in recognizing his efforts to achieve peace and cooperation in the border conflict between Ethiopia and Eritrea. Well, last October, the prize went to Dennis Mugiwi and Nadia Murad for their effort to end the use of sexual violence as a weapon of war. In 2017, the Nobel was given to the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons. 10 years ago, Barack Obama received the prize for his efforts to strengthen international diplomacy. 40 years ago, well, that was 1979. Do you even remember 1979? That was the year of the Soviet government, McDonald's Happy Meal, and leg warmers. 1979. 40 years ago. And that was the number of years that the Israelites wandered in the wilderness. 40 years is the amount of time it takes for a new generation to rise. And over the course of 4 decades, people can move from one era and into another. 40 years ago, on October 17, 1979, Mother Teresa of Calcutta was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. She heard a call from God to help the poor, and she founded a group called the Missionaries of Charity. In India, Mother Teresa and her helpers built homes for orphans, nursing homes for lepers, and hospice centers for the terminally ill. According to the Nobel website, she was a saint in the gutter. In Mother Teresa's acceptance speech, she wrote, quote, "I am sure this award is going to bring an understanding love between the rich and the poor. That is why Jesus came to earth, to proclaim the good news to the poor. And through this award and through all of us gathered here together, we are wanting to proclaim the good news to the poor, that God loves them, that we love them, that they are somebody to us, and that they too have been created by the same loving hand of God to love and to be loved. Our poor people are great people, are very lovable people. They don't need our pity and sympathy. They need our understanding love." End quote. Now, one particular word keeps popping up again and again in these lines from Mother Teresa's speech. Love. Mother Teresa believed that the award was going to bring an understanding love between the rich and the poor. She stressed that God loved the poor and that she loved them. The poor have been created by the same loving hand of God, to love and to be loved. She saw the poor as very loving people, lovable, who need nothing more than understanding love. The group that Mother Teresa founded in 1950 is called the Missionaries of Charity, and it's an organization that now has more than 5,000 members. They are focused on charity, but unfortunately, charity comes from the Latin caritas, which means affection. Charity is fundamentally Christian love and affection. It's not exclusively a monetary gift. We should all be missionaries of charity. 40 years have passed since Mother Teresa gave her speech. She died in 1997, and she was declared a saint in 2016. A new generation of Christians has arisen, and we have moved from one era and into another. So how are we doing on that goal of creating an understanding love between the rich and the poor? How are we doing with Christian love and affection? In his second letter to Timothy, the Apostle Paul challenges his younger colleague by saying, "Remember Jesus Christ, raised from the dead, a descendant of David. That is my gospel." When we remember Jesus Christ, we remember his words about love, words which are not so much a fuzzy feeling as they are a call to action. Love your enemies. Oh, I wish he hadn't said that. Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. When Jesus was asked which commandment is the greatest, he said, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all of your mind. This is the greatest and first commandment, and a second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself." Wish he hadn't said that either. But Jesus also gives the order. Love your enemies, do good, and lend, expecting nothing in return. Your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High. "If you love me," says Jesus, "you will keep my commandments. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another." No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. So what does it mean to remember Jesus? What does that mean precisely? It means to love your enemies. It means to love the Lord your God. It means love your neighbor as yourself. Love Jesus. Love one another. There's a story that circulates about the Apostle John, the last surviving disciple. As an old man, the only one that died of natural causes, by the way. An old man, the patriarch of the church in many ways, was carted to the church on a stretcher. He was asked to preach. And the church in Antioch, and he went to the church, they carried him in, and when it came time to preach, he rose from his bed, and he said, "Children, love one another." And he sat back down. That was his sermon. dictionary of Christian love and affection. Jesus gives us a call to action in his words about love. He issues all of his followers a daunting challenge, which is why the Apostle Paul admits that he has suffered hardship as a Christian. But the saying is sure. He insists, if we have died with him, we will also live with him. If we endure, we will also reign with him. Jesus wants us to show our love to the fullest and to show it to the very end of our lives. Through our acts of sacrificial love, he wants us to die to ourselves and to live with him, as well as to endure and reign with him. The challenge is to love God, love neighbor, and even lay down our lives for our friends. The world needs that kind of Christian love now more than ever. In the United States, the rich are getting richer, and the poor are getting poorer, and there's not much understanding love between the two. In 2015, according to the Economic Policy Institute, the top 1% of families took home an average of 26 times as much income as the bottom 99%. Income inequality has risen in nearly every state, and it has a lot of negative effects, including increases in crime, increases in health, and decreases in high school graduations. Mother Teresa won the Nobel Peace Prize for reaching out to the poor with Christian love. She didn't judge them, but instead offered them affection and assistance. And her loving actions were the way she remembered Christ, raised from the dead, even though these actions caused her hardship. We can do the very same as we seek to create an understanding love between the rich and the poor. The love of Christ crosses all boundaries, every single one. Every day, millions of people lament the loss of civility, the loss of respect and hope, and they wonder if it is possible to cultivate a love big enough to overthrow hate and to heal our hurts. With courage, authenticity, and relevance, let us loudly proclaim, yes, it's possible. And then do the necessary work to widen love's wingspan and to love as God loves, without limits and without exceptions. We must encourage love across division and difference in these troubled times, and challenge all disciples to answer God's call to practice a love so deep it subverts the social order, so radical it scandalizes the powerful, and so vast it excludes no one. We are called to say yes, that the kingdom might break through, to renew and to transform our dark and groping world. We stutter and we stammer to the lone God who calls and pleads New Jerusalem in the bloody Sinai Straits. We are called to say yes, that black may sing with white, and pledge peace and healing for the hatred of the past. We are called to say yes, so that rich and poor embrace and become equal in their poverty through the silent tears that fail. We are called to say yes, that the whisper of our God might be heard through our sirens and the screams of our bombs. We are called to say yes to a God who still holds fast to the vision of a kingdom for a trembling world of pain.